Hey, welcome back to Cloud and Tech. In this video, I want to take you through some fundamental technology that is very necessary for threat hunting, something that all SOC analysts and engineers must go through when they're going through investigations. All right, so before I continue on about the technology that I'm actually talking about here today, I want to get the fundamentals out of the way, right? So what is threat intelligence? Essentially, it's the information that threat hunters and SOC analysts have to match up against artifacts and indications of compromise that they find in their investigations throughout their daily work. So imagine you are working at a SOC or a security operations center and you find an investigation or there is a security alert, right? That security alert will have essentially artifacts and indications of compromise that will potentially link that investigation to a known malicious threat actor or a known malicious IP or a known malicious file. These are indications of compromise that need to be investigated against a potential database of upcoming and noteworthy attacks that are currently in the wild. This is where having access to a database of threat intelligence assets is very powerful and needed for these complex and also advanced investigations. The benefit of utilizing a lot of the platforms from Microsoft is that a lot of that is already baked into the platform for you, and I'm going to get into how this works with Defender XDR. But also, when you're doing something a little more advanced, that's where the need for a dedicated threat intelligence premium experience, if you will, is needed. So let's dive into what does all of that mean in the Microsoft security stack. Okay, I want to get started from the top. So I'm talking about threat intelligence because it's a conversation that I've been having with some of my customers. Imagine you're a SOC again, or you're a threat analyst, and you need to investigate against a known, veritable, and extensive, always growing data set of threat intelligence that is worldwide and global. That's where you need to adhere to essentially a global solution or a corporate solution of that kind. There are a range of open source based threat intelligence that you can leverage. And if you're just starting out in the field and if you're a small SOC, you're likely just using that because having something dedicated is a more advanced scenario, right? It requires more expertise, but also requires more use cases that your SOC will need to be enabled for. So the maturity level of your SOC in order to make the best and leverage the full features of a dedicated threat intelligence platform, it's much higher than what open source tools generally provide, okay? But with that in mind, that's where Microsoft came in a few years ago, and you can see on screen right here, this article from Engadget 2021 is just stating that Microsoft decided to acquire a company called RiskIQ. That is a company that performed essentially a graph of the internet and created infrastructure chaining through many smart methods and very interesting ways in order to create a map or a graph of the internet and then provide insights to its customers. So RiskIQ, since then, has become essentially two solutions in the Microsoft stack. I talked about one of them before, external attack surface management. The other one is Defender Threat Intelligence, the subject of this video. Okay, so before I continue on with Defender Threat Intelligence, I just wanted to cover some recent updates that Microsoft has released about the platform. First and foremost, the free experience of the platform. Microsoft announced in November or at Ignite 2023 that Defender Threat Intelligence has a free experience part of Defender XDR. This is exactly what I'm going to showcase in this video to you as well, right? So just be mindful of that. You have access to some part of Defender Threat Intelligence. This article goes on to explain what's included in the free experience. So I highly recommend you have a look if you're curious about what's included in Defender XDR already. Next up, what was also announced later this month was MDI standalone portal retirement and transition to Defender XDR. In this video, I covered how Defender Threat Intelligence can be utilized through the Defender XDR portal, and essentially what this tells us is the dedicated portal for the threat intelligence is being retired, and the preferred solution will be to use Defender XDR portal as I demonstrated in this video. And lastly, so Defender XDR Global Search is also available here, and it was announced just couple days ago or a few days back, right? So just be mindful of that. This is how you can paste in any information into the search bar of Defender XDR, and you'll get the Intel Explorer section there at the right-hand side. Okay, awesome. I actually want to show you what it looks like. And it's very important that you be mindful. Defender Threat Intelligence is currently accessible through the Defender XDR portal. The same portal I've been showcasing in a lot of my old videos as well, right? So it's the one portal for your SOC analysts and you as a security engineer to interface with a lot of the Microsoft security stack. And especially looking at what's coming next, Copilot for Security. So Microsoft announced and had an event in the last few days where it showcased how important Defender XDR portal is going to be for threat hunting and investigating. And this includes, of course, accessing Defender Threat Intelligence. All right, so just be mindful of that. But what I'm showcasing to you here, it's very topical, as you can see on screen right here, that Microsoft is introducing Copilot in the Defender portal. Awesome. I will talk about that in a follow-up video. But what I want to showcase to you right here is where can you access Defender Threat Intelligence, a little bit of what it looks like, and then I'm going to talk deeper into what it does and how it does so. So first and foremost, I'm in the Defender XDR portal. On the left-hand side here, we have the Threat Intelligence section. If you expand it, you'll have essentially four different options here. The first one being Threat Analytics. Threat Analytics is a capability, a reporting capability that is already included as part of Defender for Endpoint Plan 2. It leverages Microsoft Threat Intelligence knowledge, and one of the ways that Threat Intelligence provides information to you as a SOC analyst, which is the pre-made Threat Intelligence, right? So which is the aggregate Threat Intelligence. Think of it this way. Think of it with Microsoft Threat Intelligence team curating its information, putting it all together under threat actors that it's tracking. Microsoft is tracking more than 300 threat actors currently, and a range of other very high-profile kind of attackers and patterns seen in the wild. And it makes those available to you as part of threat analytics for the most part. Not all of it, and I'm going to get into what that means. But for the most part, threat analytics will help you have a look at these high-impact threats in your environment and contextualize against your environment. And as I said before, this is not threat intelligence yet, right? It's part of what Microsoft is calling the free experience of Defender Threat Intelligence, all right? And that's important. There is a free version of threat intelligence that's included in what threat analytics exposes to you, all right? Without getting into threat analytics, because that's not the point of this video, I want to talk about the other three sections here. So the first one is Intel Profiles. Intel Profiles is exactly that curated threat intelligence from Microsoft cybersecurity teams, which indicators of compromise, artifacts are aggregated into reports based on threat actors. As you can see on screen right now, you can see that it describes what Intel Profiles are. It also has a banner here for the free edition. That is because in my E5 tenant, which I'm showcasing to you right now, in E5, there's only the free experience of Defender Threat Intelligence available, but the free experience already allows us to have a lot of information at our tips, right, at our fingertips. So for example, as I scroll down here, everything you're seeing is the free experience, right? So as I scroll down, I can see different threat actor names. Microsoft is tracking more than 200 of them already documented in here and exposed to us. It's also tracking tools that are used out there in the wild. Think of Cobalt Strike and other ransomware strings that are available out there, such as Akira ransomware, specific frameworks utilized by threat actor rootkit creators, for example, and so on and so forth. If I jump into any of them, I will get some information about it. At each and every page that I navigate here, I will see a banner for the free edition if there is additional information that would be surfaced in case I had the premium version of this solution. As I scroll down here into this particular tool report, you can see I have a summary of what that tool is, but also at the bottom I get this little banner about a free edition. That's because if I had the premium version, I would get even more information about this particular tool that is being tracked by Microsoft. Going back to Intel Profiles, It also tracks vulnerabilities, so major vulnerabilities that have high impact in specific organizations. So if I wanted to have deeper understanding of what's included in those vulnerabilities, I can just jump into each one of those reports and have a look at them. Okay, so this is the curated experience. Next up would be Intel Explorer. Now, Intel Explorer is what most solutions and even threat hunters expect out of a threat intelligence platform, which is the second way you can interact with the product, which is via raw data. So you just query the platform for a specific artifact, be that an IP address, be that a domain or subdomain, who is information from email, people's name, organization, whatever is publicly available that has been scraped by the platform, it will have matches here. And it'll help you create understanding if there is direct or indirect links to malicious infrastructure, malicious files, malicious artifacts that you should be aware in your investigations. Okay, so that's where this all comes together. When we think about certificates that are being tracked, absolutely. Cookies as well, cookie name, the cookie domains, and so on and so forth. Now, in the free experience, I can look for some information here. So let me go ahead and attempt to find some information on a specific domain. As you can see, I entered the domain google.com. As you can see from the results here, a lot of it is not included in the free experience, right? So you can see here, unfortunately, there's not a lot of details in terms of the actual artifacts or malicious artifacts that are potentially linked to this domain. There is some articles that are part of the threat analytics experience, part of V5, that you can have access to. And as you can see, they're all linked in here to this domain. So if I clicked on them, I'm going to be taken to that activity report or article for me to have a look at what that meant back when this was released some time ago. We also have some IP address resolutions and certificates linked to this domain. So let me go ahead and jump into and pivot to an IP address that's linked to google.com and see what information the free experience surfaced to me. So as you can see, the free experience doesn't show me the reputation of IP address. This is important. When we're talking about threat hunting and investigation, we have to think about if an IP address or a file is malicious. Unfortunately, we don't get that in the free experience. The premium experience will definitely tell you, hey, this is malicious. We have a score from 0 up to 100 where it tells us with confidence what confidence level and level of malicious indicators there are against that particular artifact you put in. Within Analyst Insight, there's not information. You can see there are some services that are surfaced, some resolutions that are surfaced to that particular IP address as well. Apparently YouTube is going back to that IP address, some certificates as well. So just tells a little bit more about that specific IP address. If I go to who is, it's likely to be included. There we go, it is included. So who is information is part of the free experience. You get to access the WHOIS server, the registrar, domain status, name of that particular platform, and so on and so forth. So this is all public information, by the way, right? So it's just surfacing it to you in a way that makes more sense and lets you potentially link that to a particular investigation you're going through. The last thing there is in terms of the Defender threat intelligence in the platform is projects. Now, within projects, what you would be able to do is essentially create a collection of artifacts and IOCs that are linked together as part of some of your team's investigations, for example. It just helps you aggregate information in a more concise way. This is not included in the free experience. This is why I don't get to see team projects here. If, however, I was exploring the Internet Explorer like it was before, and I was navigating through that particular IOC, I can add it to a project, right? So this adding to a project is definitely included, right? So we can have a look here, but this is a project that's only available to me as a user, an individual project. So I cannot share this amongst my team. This is the main difference of the free experience versus the premium experience when it comes to Intel projects. Okay, after this very quick overview of what Defender for Threat Intelligence is and how it looks like in Defender XDR portal, which again, by the way, Microsoft announced that the dedicated portal for Defender Threat Intelligence will be Defender XDR in the future. So just keep that in mind. A lot of its capabilities are already surfaced in there. There are a few things that I skipped through. So for example, showing you how Defender Threat Intelligence, particularly the premium version, includes API, but I'll talk about that later. What I want to talk about next is, hey, what really works and how it works on the back end. Essentially, Defender Threat Intelligence and Defender External Attack Surface Management, both solutions that came from RiskIQ acquisition, utilize this technology you're seeing on screen right now, which is called infrastructure chaining. Okay, this is essentially how the technology and essentially how Microsoft creates a map of connected technologies out there in the internet, particularly useful for both solutions, right? So when we think of external attack surface management, it's important to understand what IP addresses are connected to organizations, but also what IP addresses are talking to other IP addresses, what domains are connected to each IP addresses, what people name are actually connected to those domains perhaps, and what else that person has registered on the internet, for example. That could lead to you identifying and tracking specific subdomains or alternate domains that someone is being registering and is likely connected to malicious infrastructure. This is where this kind of technology, the infrastructure chaining capability that happens all behind the curtains on threat intelligence, Defender Threat Intelligence, really helps. The solution creates that map for you on your behalf. This is all public information. I'll definitely leave this link in the description for you to have a look at. But it leverages a lot of different metrics in order to chain these together. And at the same time, it also utilizes some virtual agents that it utilizes to scrape pages on the web, utilizing specific random methods to do that. And you can have a look at how this all works in here too, in the documentation too. The next step for understanding how it works is, hey, you found some information. How do you expose it? And what kind of information are you actually looking for? This is all documented in what is called data sets. So that's important because data sets is essentially everything that Defender Threat Intelligence is grabbing and trying to find and keeping track of in your environment or on the web. So this document here is great because it talks about all the main data sets that are kept by the platform. So resolutions, it showcases what these resolutions will look like in the premium experience. You can have a look at some of these screenshots here for further details later. IP addresses, who-is information, current who-is lookups, historical who-is lookups is also kept. I'm sure there's some information that's kept for more than 10 years for who-is. So the historical information included in the platform is quite extensive. And it includes a very large range of data sets that is essentially taken and recorded by the platform. With this in mind, I actually took that page and put all of these different data sets into a chart. This chart right here just puts together nicely what kind of data sets are tracked by the platform and what are the threat hunting use cases, right? So some examples of why you would be asking and trying to find those specific types of data set, right? So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of different data sets that is kept by the platform that is helpful for you to investigate in your environment. Okay, so what I thought of doing next is actually having a look at the differences between the free experience and the premium experience, or one of the differences, but on top of some of the banners that I highlighted before. So this here is me showcasing to you what the new experience provides to us. So amongst the new capabilities of Defender Threat Intelligence that Microsoft announced recently is the capability for the Defender XDR search bar here at the top. Search for any kind of indicator of compromise. So I'm showcasing here is, hey, I'm copying this particular SHA-256 value and I'm expecting to get some response back from anywhere in Defender XDR, right? So think about that. Think about how you could paste in an IP address or a username and it would correlate, or it would try to find that information across all its data set. For Defender XDR, this is exactly what it's doing. You can see it's trying to match that specific string against devices, users, groups, and so on and so forth. So these are all specific domains that the Defender XDR works with. But what it's finding is it's actually finding a match against the Intel Explorer, which again, this is the Defender Threat Intelligence way to investigate raw data and raw telemetry, right? So it put that information into the raw data query for Intel Explorer, and it actually has a match. So for this particular SHA-256, there's a match for a threat actor A. So it's an actor profile that is being tracked by Microsoft. If I had the premium experience, that would go even further into what that threat actor A is. Okay, so this is the free experience of how the Defender XDR matching looks like. If I went into my premium experience and I looked for that particular SHA-256 file, I could actually get all the information that I mentioned before that is surfaced in the premium. So this is a screenshot of the premium dashboard. So you can see I have here the Intel Explorer for a specific SHA-256. That SHA-256 has a malicious score, like I mentioned before, from 0 to 100. That's score 100 means it is very malicious. It is in fact malicious, and it is connected to that particular threat actor. Like I said before, that threat actor wasn't surfaced in the free experience, but it is in the premium experience. It also has a look at the detonation analysis. So this is a premium feature as well. So if it is a file that we're dealing with, and that this is a file, it's an executable, it actually attempts to detonate that into a Microsoft virtual machine, and it provides back to us the report, tells us a little bit about what that analysis looked like. Now, mind you, this is a look at the free experience spec again. The free experience would allow me to go deeper into that file, right? So I could find that particular file that connected to that SHA-256, and it would show me a little bit more information. So it would show me it's unsigned file, the file signer is unknown. So all of these indicators are already very suspicious. What I don't get here is an information around the detonation analysis and the malicious score or the detonation score of that particular file. Right, so just be mindful of that. However, as part of Microsoft E5 subscription and Defender for Endpoint Plan 2, you still get a lot of visibility into some of these files out there. All right, with all this said and done about Defender Threat Intelligence, I hope you found this video helpful, so you understood a little bit about Microsoft's strategy from recent releases in Microsoft Ignite, Microsoft Secure events, and blog posts, but also you had a look at what that looks like into your Defender XDR portal today with a free experience and with a premium experience. If you want to learn more about it, check out the description, and also check out my blogs, because there will be something coming out soon as well. All right, with that said and done, if this is helpful to you, leave a like, leave a comment with some thoughts of you around that, and I appreciate you coming together for this video. All right, see you next time.